Do you want to start us off with one of your conversation starters?
Trying to think of something that is like appropriate, because what we were talking about before we started recording really probably wouldn't fly.
I've got something, kind of.
Yeah. What is it?
So I've been watching One Punch Man a lot.
Oh, okay. What do you mean a lot? I thought there was only like 2 seasons.
There's only 2 seasons, but I fucking love that show. Especially watching Dragon Ball Z the way that we are, from beginning to end, because the show just picks on every single stereotype in anime and manga and destroys it in the most wonderfully comedic fashion. I know a lot of people didn't like season 2. I've watched both the sub and the dub, and I really like it. People don't like season 2 because the animation goes downhill, and it does, but also you're comparing it to basically the magnum opus of all animation in season 1. Season 1 is a 10, season 2 is an 8, which is still pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And I think it's just about scaling back your expectations, similar to falling on a hype train of a video game. You just got to scale back your expectations. And I'm not saying think it sucks so that when it happens and it doesn't suck, you're surprised, but just, be ready for it to suck. Just in case.
But you're saying that this one's an 8. Like at worst, it's an 8.
At best, it's a 10, but not for... I mean, the animation really picks up towards the end. Like they knew the first 5 or 6 episodes. They were like, all right, let's save all the budget for the end. But it's fantastic. Have you seen it?
I think I watched like 1 episode a long time ago.
I highly recommend watching the whole thing all the way through. It's stunning how good it is.
You know my favorite part about One Punch Man?
What?
You could cosplay him so easily. and it would be like the best thing. And I'm not just saying because,
I'm a bald dude. Yeah.
I just mean like personality wise too. Like I can see it.
Maybe that's why I like it so much, is because I deeply identify with the main character of Saitama, and everyone else is so fucking serious and straight laced. If I don't win and become number 1, then I'll let down my village or whatever.
Yeah.
And he doesn't give a shit about any of it. So I think really, we've just found the root of why I love that show so much, is because I feel like it's me as a superhero. Oh, I have to do it last time. I forgot.
Yeah.
Because I was the one with the nonsense in the beginning. So I forgot. Why don't you do the last time? You've never done the last time.
I've never done the last time.
Let's have you do the last time.
Okay. Last time on Elated Dragon Ball Z. This purple-haired guy arrived from the future and killed Frieza again. And then he said that there was going to be androids coming to kill everybody. And then there was a heart virus that was going to kill Goku. And then 3 years later, now it's here. Yamcha is probably dead. Let's go. This time on Dragon Ball Z.
Wow.
That was my, your parody of the previously on from Dragon Ball Z. My parody of your parody of that.
I think I liked it probably because it was a parody of myself.
Yeah.
And I'm narcissistic. So I'm like, he's doing me. Oh my God. Welcome to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. I'm John.
And I'm Spencer. Today we're going to be going over episodes 128 to 132 of Dragon Ball Z. We'll kick things off with episode 128. The Japanese title is Goku's Double Shock, Caught Between Illness and Adversary. The American title is Double Trouble for Goku.
My episode title is 8 Almost Unbearable Minutes of Marin again.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I bet you forgot she even showed up until this exact moment.
I didn't when I was taking notes, but then I thankfully put it out of my head.
I hope that your notes are similar to mine in that they're normal notes until Marin shows up, and then it's just all caps, sentences with no punctuation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so spoiler alert, Marin shows up, but not right at the beginning, just about a minute and 30 seconds in.
What's really crazy, we'll get there. Okay, so this episode starts off with, so last episode ended with Goku charging forward with a fun fist blast ready to take on 19, the rotund porcelain doll of an android.
Yep.
They fight.
Yeah.
That's how this episode starts. Seriously, it just goes right into it, and there's no delay. There's no recap. It's just them trying to beat the crap out of each other. It's kind of cool.
It is. It's a solid minute-long battle.
Yeah.
Just back and forth. There's no stops for dialogue. There's no cuts to other characters and their reactions. It's just fisticuffs.
During the course of the fight, Android 19 blows a bubble out of his mouth of energy, not bubblegum, but it is still pink, and bubble beams a mountain. He didn't go ha like most of the mouth blasts we've seen. It was literally like blowing a bubble, and I was kind of confused.
After a decent amount of fighting, there's another moment where 19 is still not sure whether or not they can handle Goku, and so they charge right at him with their head because they have like a World War I trench hat. I think we talked about that.
Like it's got a spiky top.
Yeah. So charges right at Goku, and Goku just catches him. And we've seen a lot of characters catch blasts, but I don't know that we've seen another character just grab another character.
And it's beautiful too because his fingers go right in between the spiky bit, so he doesn't get stabbed by the hat.
Oh, it's so good.
And then he just like kicks him. Like he stops the android in mid-flight and then kicks his chest and he goes flying up in the air. It's great.
So it goes without saying, the androids are outmatched by Goku. They don't have the data on the Namek fights. They don't know Goku can go Super Saiyan. They were real cocky last episode. It doesn't matter. You can go Super Saiyan. We'll still... They're wrong. They're wrong.
It honestly is beautiful. For once, right out of the gate, a Dragon Ball Z fight starts and the heroes have the upper hand. I honestly, I don't know if that's ever happened before. Goku's just there from the beginning. They don't have to wait for him. They put their biggest player forward and started off with him just beating the crap out of this android. It's just fun to watch.
And then we cut to Kame House.
Randomly, like literally it was like a jump cut in the middle of a fight. Like it felt very
out of place, very odd.
Weird.
But we haven't had a recap in at least a minute. And there's been a minute of fighting, so it's time for a recap. Unfortunately, we have the worst possible introduction to the recap.
It's really bad.
It starts off with Master Roshi, and I think Oolong is on top of his head staring down at Nudie Mag.
And I for the first time ever, I just got the joke that Oolong is a pig.
Yeah.
You know, like the double meaning there. And so that only took 100 and something episodes just come through to me.
He hardly shows up. Nobody can blame me for that.
That's true.
So they're reading the Nudie Mag and they're, they have the anime flushed face with the rosy cheeks and they're doing the dirty laugh. When you hear maybe the most obnoxious, horrible sound that you could have possibly imagined, Marin's voice. And she's calling for Krillin.
It's like more shrill and more annoying than it was in her episodes before.
It's so much worse.
Yeah.
I think it's worse because we all believed that was it for her.
I was 100% confident we would never see Marin again.
Why is she? Why? Okay, I know why she's here.
I know why too, but there are so many other characters you could have used.
So many others. We could. Okay, not her name isn't Rocket. What's her name? Launch.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like it makes more sense. Launch has lived there.
Yeah,
she knows Roshi and Oolong. She's been known to go in and out, on her own adventures and stuff. But she's still part of the gang.
Or Chi-Chi, even Ox King. Korin.
Oh, Ox King would have been hilarious.
Nimbus, the fucking cloud.
Honestly, I think I would have taken some kind of Yajirobe. Maybe him explaining to Roshi and the others what's going on or something. I don't know.
I would have taken some no-name character we've never met ever.
Yeah. Hey, Master Roshi, I'm the milkman. What's going on?
Yeah.
Dude, if you were a milkman who got to ride a boat twice a month to go out to this tropical island and just hang out with an old dude and a pig and like read Playboy and watch TV... Sounds like a pretty sweet gig, all things considered.
I'm on my lunch break. What are you guys reading? Oh, I got some of those in my car, too.
Oh, man, Milkman Dan.
Woo!
Coming through once again.
The street sweeper from hell. Like anything.
Dude, that would have been if a street sweeper just crashed into the ocean and then he swam over. He's like, oh, man, it happened again.
Yeah, he's still falling off of Snake Way. Like he misses hell and keeps going this whole time. 3 years have passed, 5 years, however long, and he's still falling.
That would have been the most amazing cameo. But it's Marin.
Marin shows up because we need to have a recap of the Red Ribbon Army. So we need an audience surrogate. And we've picked the most obnoxious character possible.
Oh, there's a lot of just obnoxious sexual assault things that happen.
Oh my God. Yeah, let's not even talk about that. If you watch the episode, you'll get it. We're just going to not talk about it.
Yeah. Marin's insane. She talks to a plant asking where Krillin is.
She's looking for Krillin. Her whole thing is she's looking for Krillin because she discovered...
regrets breaking up with him and likes that he had muscles and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I want to touch his muscly body. So she... I don't want to get into it. I really don't.
It's like, it's the worst part of this whole chunk of episodes.
It is.
And so Roshi and Oolong explain to Marin what Krillin is up to, fighting the androids. The androids from the Red Ribbon Army. Goku fought the Red Ribbon Army years and years ago. So you get this like really, really long flashback of Dragon Ball. Basically, like a chunk of the arc of Dragon Ball where Goku fights the Red Ribbon Army. It's substantial. It's a substantial portion of the episode.
It's the majority of the episode. I counted it out. So it's 4 minutes and 37 seconds of Marin bullshit. 3 minutes, and I didn't count the seconds because I was just exhausted of recap. And you know what? I was okay with it.
I mean, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. And some weird stuff, like Gohan's voice actor voices young Goku. I don't know if that was like how they did it when they dubbed Dragon Ball, or if it's a different actor, or if any of this Dragon Ball animation is new, or if it's entirely clips from the old show. I'm not exactly sure the mechanics of it, but
I'm pretty sure it is from the old show because of the difference in art style. They go over Goku infiltrating the Red Ribbon Army, and it's really weird to see them firing firearms and anti-aircraft missile batteries at Goku, who is a child.
Like, I think that there is a difference in theme and genre between Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, obviously.
Yes.
But it didn't start that different. Like, I think the end of Dragon Ball and the beginning of Dragon Ball Z are sort of similar.
Yeah, yes.
But you're taking something from like the middle of Dragon Ball and plopping it into something in the middle of Dragon Ball Z. So the contrast is like at an all-time high.
Yes.
It's really weird.
It's extraordinarily strange, but I'm pretty sure it is all scenes and animation from that, because at the very end of the recap, Goku kills all the Red Ribbon people.
By himself.
Yeah, by himself. Little kid, except for Dr. Gero. And then they show a scene of Dr. Gero creating androids, and that is all animated, and the art is very different in that section. So I'm pretty sure it is just copy paste from Dragon Ball, which is fine. That's not revealed what Dr. Gero looks like. He's never shown in these flashbacks, which is a good move. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was excellent. And I'm not really even sure if they showed him like in Dragon Ball. That's something I'm legitimately curious about, how much of a character Dr. Gero was in Dragon Ball. But
I wonder if it's a retcon, like a full...
That's what I was wondering too. Like if they never mention him and it's just the Red Ribbon Army, and then in Dragon Ball Z, they kind of say, oh, he created the Red Ribbon Army. Anyway.
Yeah. I do think that there's something to be said for taking time out of an episode to give us a recap versus giving us 20 straight minutes of fighting, because that would burn us out.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like, I don't necessarily hate it.
I just wish it didn't have to be Marin.
Yeah, like there's just the way that it was done was kind of not great. I would have liked to hear it more from Goku's perspective, like looking back at something that he did as a kid, as an adult now, and like maybe factor in some of that. Oh man, I'm kind of the cause of this.
Oh yeah,
sort of that kind of perspective while he's fighting 19,
taking some ownership,
or like Bulma's perspective would be interesting, because like I get that Roshi is connected to Goku, but like Bulma was kind of there for a lot of Goku's adventures, and she doesn't have a lot to do in this episode, so I don't know why you have to shoehorn in Marin and Roshi and.
Yeah,
but she's like doing nothing but flying with Yajirobe the whole time. Like
Bulma,
I feel like they could be.
Yeah, that's true.
They could be recapping, and anyway, it's weird. It's just a very weird way to do it. But
yeah. So that's the whole episode. Basically, it cuts back towards the end of this episode. It cuts back to Goku fighting Android 19. We get a little bit of the peanut gallery commentary, like, wow, that's our Goku kicking the shit out of that. And
Piccolo and Gohan are a little worried that something's up.
Yes, because Goku looks like he's winded. I think Tien is the one that picks up on it. Dude, what's going on with Tien in these episodes? Did somebody remind
I have no idea
Toriyama that Tien exists? Yeah. And then he's like, oh yeah, this character is actually pretty cool. And so they gave him something to do, kind of something to say, because he's got some choice lines. Again, I don't understand why he never existed before this. And I know in the future he keeps doing things. So what the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's how the episode ends, is it's Goku real winded.
Goku does a Kamehameha on 19 and 19 just absorbs it all. So you get...
Oh, does that happen this episode?
Yeah. You get to actually see him absorb the blast into his hand. They have a little gem in the palm of their hand where they absorb energy from. And they use that to power up, to charge their battery. The music, Android 19 has a theme. And it sounds like it's just circus clown music, but a la DBZ, which is just absolutely insane. I loved it. It's fantastic. You don't really hear much like it in the show, so it was very unique.
Weird, frenetic tone to it. It's very well done. It's perfect for that character.
But it's super unique. And then Goku starts clutching his chest and he's out of breath. And Gohan makes the connection that the heart virus that Trunks warned him about has finally come. And they're going to have to deal with that because Goku's losing his will to fight. Episode 129 is super great. I love this episode. The Japanese title is The Might of Vegeta, the Blood of a Super Saiyan Awakens. And the English title is Upgrade to Super Saiyan.
My episode title is And Then There Were Three.
That is really good. Actually, like, you joke around a lot with your titles, but every once in a while you come in with like a zinger that's just perfect.
Well, I don't know what else to do because I know the regular ass titles are going to give everything away.
I actually thought it would be hilarious if they gave away that Vegeta was going to be a Super Saiyan, which they do in the title, and then Vegeta just doesn't show up this episode.
That happens in the next episode's title.
I know.
What the fuck?
You don't get it at all.
Oh, we'll get there.
Oh, man. Okay, so Piccolo remembers, because, this is 3-4 weeks since a regular person has seen this episode, because binging wasn't a thing in the 90s.
Right, yeah.
Piccolo remembers that Goku has the cure. Trunks gave him the cure for the heart virus, but it's back home. And Goku's basically helpless, except Krillin comes up with a cool idea to throw Goku a sensu bean.
That's right.
Which calls into question so many things. I can't even we know that it heals a hole in the chest and physical damage. Is it going to wipe every virus out of your system as well?
No, because it just cures all of your physical wounds and restores your stamina. So I'm 100% on board with a virus is, if you really want to get into it, its own separate living entity. So would it cure a parasite? No, probably not. Krillin
seems to think that it might help, and it's
a good idea.
It's a Band-Aid fix, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of made apparent that the virus is going to be cured by a sensu bean, despite its healing magic. I love the scene where Goku is so affected by the virus that he starts powering down. He goes from Super Saiyan and he can't hold it anymore. Yeah. So he just goes back to normal Goku. That's a really, oh shit moment.
Yeah, that's that. And they kind of draw it out. I think they did that on purpose so that oh no, the gang is now in trouble again.
19 grabs him around the throat and starts to drain his energy. You get this cool visual effect that apparently never shows up again that signifies him draining energy.
It's tons of little beads that looks like fairies coming from Goku. Which, you know what? They do show it when he's doing the spirit bomb. It looks like little fairies.
Oh, sorry. Whenever Android 19 is absorbing energy and 20, they don't show the effect anymore. You never see it again. But they do show energy as tiny little beads going to one source a lot, which is kind of a cool bit of continuity.
But I see what you're saying, because in the future, there are a couple other instances. There's just no consistency to that visual.
To the Android. Yes, exactly.
It's weird. It is weird.
They're going to let Android 19 choke Goku out, but not for long. So his friends finally come to the rescue.
This is one of my favorite parts of the episode. It's so comedically quick. The gang decides to step in. Oh, we need to help Goku. Piccolo says, now's the time. We go. They all charge in, and 20 teleports in front of them and says, all right, you're going to have to get past me. Piccolo screams out, think again. And he tries to kick him, and 20 blasts I-beams through his heart, and he drops like a sack of rocks. It's that fast.
He just fails horribly, and everybody else is like, I guess we're going to sit here then.
And then, it's cutting back to 19 sitting on Goku's chest, draining his energy, when suddenly, Vegeta.
Yeah, a boot kicks 19 off Goku. And I love how quickly the animation happens, but it's fast enough, but it's detailed enough in the animation that you can actually tell that it's Vegeta's costume, even though you can't see it. It happens
it's
at a snap of a finger. Yeah. The boot belongs to Vegeta, and he comes in with a killer line that I failed to write down, so I apologize. But his quips, everything that Vegeta says in this episode is amazing.
It really is.
This episode really, I like Vegeta before, don't get me wrong, but this totally sold me as a Saiyan that's different than Goku, because like Gohan is different than Goku, but he's constantly trying to be more like him. And Vegeta is now chasing after Goku, trying to equal that power. So his stories are often Goku based as well. But now, well, you'll see, obviously the title gives it away. Now that he's like equal in power, he can finally be his own person that's unburdened by his connection to any other character. It's great.
Oh, it's great to see Vegeta being, I want to say, a true Saiyan, like a culturally Saiyan.
Yeah. Which is still like a big asshole. Don't get us wrong, but it's refreshing for the show.
Yeah. I think those two things are mutually exclusive. But anyway, so starts telling everybody, I'm going to save Goku this one time. And then how he saves him is by drop kicking Goku over to the gang, which is just
I love, so it's Vegeta. Perfect Vegeta. He also like chews Goku out for not doing something about the heart virus, because it was like he knew that he was going to have to deal with this weakness and he just didn't. It's so great. It's so good.
Yep.
So yeah, Goku's almost lifeless body is kicked over to the rest of the gang.
And Piccolo catches him in one hand like he's just getting thrown the pig skin. It's so funny.
It's beautiful. So
yep.
And they're like, hey, somebody should probably take Goku home to get that cure thing and save his life. And so Yamcha, finally seeing his exit opportunity, volunteers to take Goku home. But like on a more serious note, I do like that one of the weakest characters is responsible for the safety of one of the strongest characters in the show.
Yeah.
There's like, I don't know, there's kind of an interesting like thing going on there. It could have been Gohan. It could have been Piccolo, but yeah. But
instead it was the useless ass Yamcha doing the most important job of saving the main character.
Like, yeah, it does tie into his not wanting to be there-ness, but it's heroic in a way.
He does say, I hate to say this, but I'll just get in the way. And yeah, duh. You don't even have to say it.
Like, he realizes who he is. Yeah, it's a mature moment for Yamcha.
Yeah, yes, bench warmer. Do your job.
Yep. And so as they take off, Goku finally... Oh, did something happen before?
Yes. So before... This is super cool and randomly interesting. Before Yamcha takes off, Piccolo throws him a bit of advice. And he says, hey, Yamcha, you should take a swig of that antidote too. This disease is viral. You may get it as well. So Piccolo's aware of CDC guidelines, which is just perfect.
I love how, like, for such an evil character, he's very responsible. Like he's very in the know of how the world works. Like he's a smart guy.
Yeah, Piccolo is the best. He's a fantastic character. Like
he's so good.
As far as strong characters go, and I mean from a writing perspective, Piccolo and Vegeta are at the absolute top. I think Toriyama just likes those characters more than anybody else.
Well, and they're like some of the most nuanced characters too.
Yeah,
because they used to be evil. They have this fun, intricate backstory. Goku's just like always the hero, right? Like,
right? Yeah.
I'm not saying he's not fun and not enjoyable to watch, but like, there's not a lot going on there.
Yeah. You pretty much know what you're gonna get when Goku shows up. So it's no wonder that they tried to make him into like a Superman-esque hero when they brought the show over to America, because he kind of is. Like, he's got a little more nuance than just God strongman, but
yeah, he's
pretty much God strongman throughout the whole thing. Just you also got to see his childhood. That's the only difference.
Yeah, exactly. Which that's got to feel kind of cool watching him grow up from the beginning. I never watched Dragon Ball, so
yeah.
But there's got to be people out there that were like with him since the beginning. Anyway, so Yamcha takes Goku and they fly off, and Goku cements his place in the seasonal equivalent of the Snake Way spaceship going to Namek, healing tank on Frieza's ship, where he gets to just stay and doesn't do anything while the rest of the characters fail time and time again until he gets good enough to come in and save the day. So
you know what? This time I feel like it's a little more earned, if only because it was set up.
Yeah, for sure. I'm completely on board. It's funny that it repeats like almost every season, but I will say that like this time is maybe the best because they plant the seed. You get to see him at his peak, and then you get to see something take him down instead of him just being like, I'm going to come in and save the day. Like, he actually tries and fails and then gets the chance to save the day later.
There's a quick cut to Bulma and Yajirobe. Yajirobe's trying to entertain Trunks.
Yeah, baby Trunks.
Baby Trunks is doing a pretty good job until he lifts up Trunks and really starts going to town. He's like, look at how good I am with babies, Bulma. And then Trunks pisses on his face.
It's crazy.
It's real
that they actually show it. And it's my favorite moment of Yajirobe's character. is him getting peed on.
Yajirobe's got some good shit going on this time. Like, I agreed, he was a schlub who does nothing. Like, I was joking, hooray, Yajirobe's my favorite. I hate him. He's nothing. But this time, he falls into place as tertiary character that kind of adds a little something to the side.
Yeah. I like him in this saga.
Yeah.
Bulma talks about changing Trunks' diaper, and then they decide to head over to the android fight.
Yeah, Bulma just knows that Vegeta's there. Like,
Yes.
I want to say off screen, she must have seen Vegeta flying there.
Or she has a Vegeta radar.
She has, a Vegeta detector, because he's such a shit dad. Like, she would have
so
to.
Bad.
He's such a shit dad. People talk about how bad Goku is as a dad. Yeah. And Vegeta eventually in Super gets better, but in Z, he is the worst.
It takes years for him to come around. Yeah, for sure.
Oh my God. So we cut back to the gang, and I want to know your thoughts on Krillin's coward plan.
Remind me again.
So it cuts back to the gang. Vegeta's standing around being, I'm the best now. Everybody bask in my glory. I'm here, motherfuckers. And Krillin throws out, hey, why don't we just leave? He talks to Gohan. He's like, we should just leave. Like, Vegeta's here now. It's probably fine. We should just go. And Gohan, is very Gohan about it, diplomatic, and doesn't shut him down immediately. I don't know. I think we're doing our job here by just being here. So, and then there's a little internal monologue where the background goes black and it's just Krillin. And he goes, I don't want to die. I'm just a human. And it's weird that
it is.
Krillin throughout it all has been pretty consistently like, yes, he's self-concerned that he's not strong enough, but he puts aside all of that and steps up. We've seen it in the Frieza arc. We saw it we didn't see it when Frieza came back as Mecha Frieza. I think that's when he started being like this. Like, he's kind of almost parallel to Yamcha. It's weird. Krillin seems out of character in the next little group of episodes. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on.
He definitely does a little bit. I don't know. If you want an actual legit explanation, it could be just because he saw Goku, his best friend, sort of like fall by the wayside. So he knows that he can't just like hold out for Goku, because that's sort of like, he realizes how strong he is. Right. And in most cases, that just means like, okay, I just have to hold back the menace until Goku gets here. But now maybe that's not going to happen. Obviously, Vegeta could save the day, but also Vegeta is a villain.
Yeah,
Krillin knows
Vegeta.
that. Yeah, Krillin does not like Vegeta, and Krillin knows that Vegeta is now a Super Saiyan. So what happens when the threat is eliminated and it's just Super Saiyan Vegeta with no Goku? Like, I can kind of get on board with Krillin's logic, although I will say the delivery was a bit like, it was off-putting a bit because it doesn't seem like him.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like him whatsoever, which is very odd. So Vegeta, he's facing down Android 19 and 20. This is before he becomes a Super Saiyan. We're just saying he is a Super Saiyan because he becomes one.
And it's revealed in the title of the episode. And
so fuck it. Why hold it back? So Vegeta says to Android 19, let me ask you, does a machine like yourself ever experience fear? And then the fucking music kicks in. And you know what I mean by the fucking music?
Yeah.
Because there are a couple tracks that they just spent so much love and energy on, and it really shows through. One of them is the choral track when Ginyu is changing bodies. This is another one. The Vegeta transforms into a Super Saiyan track with the piano that's a little frenetic, that's got some ups and downs. Oh, it's so fucking good.
It's a really good song.
And we're treated to a really great transformation scene where his hair starts to blink into yellow and into black and into yellow.
And you see his eyes go like blink from green to black. It's so good.
So goddamn good. And so he becomes a Super Saiyan. And when he does, the ground underneath him just craters in fear. The earth itself is afraid of Vegeta now, as well it should be. He was going to blow it up. So
he was. I also like whenever they show Super Saiyan Vegeta, he's got a golden aura, like a literal outline of energy that I don't think is there when you see Goku.
No, so
in Super Saiyan form.
I know that his Super Saiyan form is called something else because
it's like in the video games, it's like Super Vegeta,
right? Yeah. It seems like his version taps into that power, but not in the way that it was meant to be tapped into.
They sort of go into it. Krillin and Gohan, they talk about how like Goku was, basically just this hero, this really good guy, and the whole thing about Super Saiyan is somehow, I don't know why they know this or why they're saying this, is at its core related to goodness, even though the Saiyans are not famous for that sort of behavior.
Right.
And Vegeta does this amazing, very long monologue.
Yes.
About how cool he is and how he was always trying to catch up to Kakarot and decided to do it his own way.
That's exactly what it is. He just talks about how awesome I am for whatever, 7 minutes. I'm the best.
It's a long time.
It is.
And he just basically, it's great. It's very well delivered and it's awesome. It's just like he just takes the spotlight. Mm-hmm. He's been hankering for this moment for a very long time. And he talks about how he got there a little differently than he thinks Goku did. He channeled his anger and his hatred and all this stuff, and he made it work for him. He talks about going to space again to train.
Yep.
And like getting caught in a meteor shower. And like, it was just this crazy bonkers story that apparently happened and gave him the ability to transform.
He lands on a planet that's just constantly covered in huge thunderstorms.
It's so
just
weird.
Electricity. And then there's another planet that like explodes and fires meteors at the storm planet.
Yeah, and this is different than the time where he was in space for that filler arc because he wasn't able to go Super Saiyan after that filler arc.
That's right.
So he just likes going to space and looking around at stuff, I guess.
Yeah, that's just a thing he does.
Which if you could, why wouldn't you, I guess?
Yeah, 100%. If you can breathe in space, which can they?
They go back and forth sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. You would totally do that all the time if you had superpowers and could visit random planets all the time. So he's on this planet and he's facing down this giant meteor and it kicks the shit out of him. The meteor beats him and he's face down on the ground, bleeding out of everywhere. His gloves are cut up and his line is, "I didn't care anymore. In that moment, I didn't care about Kakarot or even being alive." And then it happened. So Vegeta's Super Saiyan form is born of pure apathy. And it's
perfect.
Perfect.
It's not him trying to be a hero. It is purely him not caring.
So far, we can learn that Super Saiyan comes from you tapping into the core of your own personality, because Goku's comes from his care for his friends. Vegeta's comes from his lack of giving a shit about anything.
And where does Trunks's come from, you might ask?
We'll find out in the TV special when we inevitably do that.
That's sort of the end of the episode. Like 19 starts to attack Vegeta, but obviously there's a cloud of smoke and it has no effect. 19 goes to attack Vegeta and it cuts. It just cliffhanger. End of episode. Episode 130. The Japanese title is Number 20's Defiant Smile, The Secret of Dr. Gero. And the American title is The Secret of Dr. Gero.
My episode title is Those Other Two Titles Were Liars, but don't worry, we'll find out about that in this episode of our podcast.
It's so true.
Like, why even name drop that? Like, why bring that up at all? Because it doesn't.
I don't know.
It doesn't. It
just doesn't. This episode opens with Vegeta and 19 fighting.
These episodes do a really good job of here's where it ends. And then as soon as the episode starts, it just picks right up.
Yeah.
There's no.
They do a good job with not recapping scenes or alternate versions of it or whatever.
I cannot describe how happy I am that we're into actual Dragon Ball Z.
It flows really a lot better.
Oh, they figured it out. They figured it out for real. We're not in Dragon Ball Z and a half.
What's the middle of the alphabet? Like H or J?
Yeah,
Dragon Ball J.
Dragon Ball O negative.
So 19 and Vegeta fight and Vegeta's taking everything just fine. I actually kind of love where 19, that punch that we saw at the cliffhanger last episode, comes to fruition. He just nails Vegeta. Vegeta's head goes back and you can't see his reaction, but he stays in one place. And then after a few more hits, he pulls his head back and he's just got this smug grin on his face and just a little bit of blood trickling down. And it's good. He talks about how 19 is failing horribly in his mission to destroy the Z fighters. He says, "So sad, fresh out of the factory with no warranty and already broken."
Oh, it's so good. And as soon as he finishes that line, he hits 19 and his hits. Okay. In the beginning of this, I talked about how much I like One Punch Man.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really love about One Punch Man is the intensity of the blows in that show are insane. When somebody punches someone else, there is a varying degree of intensity to it in that show. You can tell that hurt. In Dragon Ball Z, which is where all that comes from, there are some hits that just feel more insane. And these hits, when Vegeta strikes 19, holy fuck. Holy fuck.
Like it's not a Goku level, like, I'm going to tell you that you are bad and you should change and walk away.
No.
Vegeta's hits are, I'm going to kill you.
At 100% of the time.
Yep.
He's never fucking around because that's what Goku does. That's what a lot of the other characters do because they're martial artists. So they have to gauge what the opponent's doing, what they're capable of. They don't want to throw their full force at them because that's showing your whole hand and you don't want to do that. Vegeta doesn't give a shit. Vegeta goes 100%. He plays all the cards in his fucking hand at once. And it's Exodia every time against 19.
It's Exodia?
Yeah.
Like Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah, it's a Yu-Gi-Oh reference.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
I agree, though. Like, this is how everybody should be fighting all the time when there is a world-ending threat in front of you.
You would think.
And Vegeta, like, I agree with everything that Vegeta has said these past couple episodes. He's absolutely right about everything. And he continues to be, and it's fantastic.
It's such a nice contrast to, like, kind of almost pathetic Vegeta in the Namek arc. Like, he wasn't pathetic. He was just a dickhead to everybody.
Yeah. Well, and when he wasn't, he was like disappointed that he wasn't Super Saiyan, right?
Yeah. So now he's here.
Yeah.
He did it.
And it's great.
But also, this is the beginning of, you said Vegeta's pride problem begins here a while ago. I don't remember which episode, but you were right. Yeah. His pride problem began there, and then it's beginning to peak in these episodes where he's just gonna let his big old ego get in the way of what's most important.
It's crazy how much of a character flaw that is, but like,
yeah,
I like that it plays out. Like, it's really good. He is a solid character.
Yeah, he's earned ego. He has earned that ego because he's easily stronger than everybody else at this point. Tien has a great line about that, I think, in this episode or the next one. I don't know where Tien is getting these massive balls, but he has them now.
We get to see what's under 19's hat, which is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Because we got to see what was under 20's hat in a couple episodes ago, but his World War I helmet falls off, and you can see that it's not a brain underneath, but it is a glass dome with some like gears and machinery in there.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
19 is almost fully mechanical, but when Vegeta beats the shit out of him, he starts bleeding real blood. Vegeta says, it looks like you've sprung a leak, but it's blood.
I think you have an oil leak, which is great. He also calls him the ultimate tub of lard, bucket of bolts, which is fantastic. Right. They're fighting, and everybody else is just trying to get out of the way. Like, there's this amazing shot where Vegeta punches 19 into the ground, like almost on top of everybody else, and they're like, bail! And they have to like jump out of the way. They make this huge crater where 19 is at the bottom of. Vegeta goes down there, does some more monologuing and some amazing lines about how 19 just sucks. He gets close enough to where 19 is able to reach out and grab him with his hands, which obviously absorb energy, and 19 thinks he has the upper hand. Vegeta does maybe the coolest thing that I could think of in this situation. He's like, oh, you think you have me, do you? And he jumps up, puts his legs on 19's chest and starts pulling backwards. And I knew from the moment that I saw his position that he was just going to rip 19's arms off, which is exactly what he does. So if they absorb energy through their hands, don't give them hands.
Yeah.
Just take those away.
So rips off the hands, and what was there are kind of like mechanical metal bones, but they spurt blood.
Yeah. Like, I think that they're using this android arc to be as an excuse to be as gory as possible. Because if it's machines,
then we can do whatever we want.
You don't have to get censored. Yeah, exactly.
Which is horrifying, honestly, in a certain kind of way. I don't know if it's ever directly stated in this arc or the Cell arc that these androids were once human beings. Maybe
there's no way 19 was, though, right?
He must have been.
What the hell kind of human? Anyway,
I don't know. Ask Chaozu.
Oh my God. I mean, fair enough. 19 reacts to this, having both of his arms pulled off by getting super scared
and running
terrified,
away in terror.
And he runs away screaming. It's great. I just love it. Like, the beginning of this series of episodes, the androids were so sure they were going to beat everybody, and Vegeta's just like, nope. And he starts to point this out. Like, Android 20 steps up and he's like, enough.
That's right.
And Vegeta's like, it's enough only because you're losing. And he goes on this monologue about how, like, you guys are the villains, and like, 2 seconds ago you were so sure you're gonna win, but now that you're not, you want to stop.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah. I love
it's so good.
Vegeta was on that side, so he has perspective on what's going on and schools 20 on how to be a real villain. It's so fucking good. You've come here to destroy us. Quit being a little bitch and take your lumps. So Vegeta charges up and fires a Big Bang attack. And we know that's what it's called. He doesn't call it that, but that's what he does. He charges up this tiny little pinpoint of energy and then launches it in an orb about the size of a basketball. And it creates a nuclear crater. Nuclear crater.
It creates a nuclear creator.
It does.
His name is Dr. Briefs. And you don't really see what happens to 19 in the blast, but his head does fly off and land in the desert. And it's just a severed head.
This show has a weird thing for blasting off creatures' heads.
Yeah.
And letting you see it.
Yep.
I mean, that's fine with me. It wasn't even like awful when I was a kid and I watched it. Because I think this episode is what gave me such a boner for Vegeta when I was, 13 or 14.
Sure.
Because how can you not? After all this, he's so cool.
He's great.
Everybody wanted to shoot a Big Bang attack. That was the coolest freaking attack ever. He holds up his hand like he's going to give Android 19 a high five with his fucking energy. And then he does. So cool. So it's goddamn really cool. So the whole gang is absolutely stunned. They just have lost their minds.
Yeah. Oh, is this who says that android's toast?
Krillin says, man, that android's toast. And then Piccolo goes, more like burnt toast. Like, okay, leave him to Vegeta now. Just let him do them.
Oh, and then Vegeta sets his sights on Android 20. There's a weird part here where for a bit of their conversation, I saw that Vegeta wasn't Super Saiyan anymore. Did he depower?
Yes. So Vegeta powers down and then confronts 20 and says, I don't need to be Super Saiyan to take you on.
There's that weird fucking, it's a weird angle. Like it goes sideways.
Yes.
Like the frame you're looking, Vegeta's looking, if you're watching TV, Vegeta's looking at the bottom of your TV, but he's standing straight up. So like it just totally shifts the angle.
90-degree shift. And it does that twice in these two episodes. I noticed it only does it when Vegeta is talking. So
I wonder if there's like a reason for that.
Maybe it's supposed to visually represent that Vegeta's not necessarily a good guy, but he is the stronger one. So I don't know. I don't know,
skewing your perspective or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. If it's supposed to have a message, I didn't get it. It was just confusing.
20 does say here that he is more powerful than 19, which I don't get because I thought as the numbers go up, they're more powerful. Am I wrong about that?
No, those are just the models, like in order of them being made.
Okay, because 17, no, fuck it.
Yeah.
Anyway, 20 just takes off. As he's taking off, Vegeta requests that Krillin give him a sensu bean. Maybe my favorite Krillin moment of these 5 episodes. He's just like, no, there's a better Krillin moment coming up, but this one's pretty good. He says, okay, fine, I'll give you one. I'm going to give him this small one. And he throws Vegeta a sensu bean. Vegeta eats it, and then Piccolo talks about how cool Vegeta is.
Yeah, for a little while.
I think it's really weird that he's like sort of in a roundabout way just complimenting himself because it's the same voice actor.
Yeah, he is. I didn't even think about that, really. Piccolo does state that there's a good chance that Vegeta at this point is stronger than Goku is.
Yeah.
They all say that they've never felt anything like this. Vegeta tells everybody, we need to stop jabbering. You can go home where it's safe because you're just going to get in the way. And then he goes after Android 20. And that's where Tien says, he might be stronger than me, but it doesn't make him my boss. I think that's exactly what that means, man.
But I do love it that Piccolo sort of takes charge after Vegeta's gone because he's the second strongest.
That's exactly how that works, Tien.
It's just how it works.
That's how it's always worked.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
The gang decides to help Vegeta search for 20 because remember, he's an android. They can't sense the power level.
Right.
20 has taken off on foot through the canyons. They got to find him before he gets back to his lab.
So Vegeta verbally abuses the air for a minute.
I love how trash talky he is. That was my next note.
Yep.
It's so good. He calls out 20 for hiding like a little shit.
Which that's what 20's doing. He's hiding in some rocky outcrop.
Androids don't have the capability of recharging their power. At least 19 and 20 don't. So
yeah,
he's like, I can't do this until I absorb some other energy and then I can beat Vegeta.
Which, you know what's interesting? In those flashbacks, it showed that the most powerful thing Kid Goku was able to do was fire a Kamehameha. And that's what blew everybody out of the water. That's what kept winning him these fights. So the idea that these androids need to charge energy by absorbing the key wave blasts is actually kind of smart on Jiro's part, since that's what
for sure. If they've been monitoring Goku, yeah. That was number one, the thing that you should do. Because the energy blasts are like time and time again, the thing that defeats the villain. So
Yep. Not this time, though.
Vegeta gets frustrated and he's just like, screw it. I'm just going to blow up the entire canyon. I'm just going to blow it up and then he's going to die. So he charges up a huge blast, fires it directly down at the canyon. Krillin's like, oh, shit, Vegeta, no, stop. We're down here. He blasts the canyon. It blows up and 20 runs to ground zero of the blast, sticks out his hand and absorbs the damn thing. Like, it was actually, at this point, I had almost forgotten that they had that ability. And like, I was right there with Vegeta. Like, come on, don't run away. Finish this fight. Like, 20 was goading him into doing an energy blast so he could absorb it himself and power back up. It's pretty clever.
Well, and Vegeta completely fell for it. So he falls for it and then he scolds himself for falling for it.
Oh, he calls himself out on it, which I thought, if you're going to call out other people, watch yourself too. That's great.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. Vegeta's a good ass character. And so 20 hides again.
Oh my
God.
I
remember right. He just fucking runs.
Vegeta's standing there looking for 20. And then the camera goes behind him and you could see Android 20 standing upside down on a canyon that has an overhang.
Like a bat.
And I don't understand how it's possible or why he's doing it, but I love the visual. It's really good.
Yeah, like, okay, so they can fly, sure, and they can pivot and orient themselves in midair.
Why would you choose to be upside down? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's so definitely weird. So 20 is then thinking to himself, all right, so I could probably beat Vegeta if I'm at full power, but I've used a lot of my power. I need to pick a target so that I could absorb their energy, and then I have the possibility of defeating Vegeta. Yep. So the way that it shows 20 detecting the gang, searching for him, because the whole gang is out there looking for him. Tien, Piccolo, Gohan, Krillin, they're all looking for him, and it shows like this white circle, kind of like a water drop, but in reverse, appears like a ping on his face, and it tells him exactly where these characters are. And then he scans them, and it really scans their outline, shows their name and statistics about them. I like that. I like that a lot.
Oh, it was really cool. And I honestly thought this was where Tien was going to die.
Yeah.
The episode basically ends there, but it's going to pick right back up from that second in episode 31. The Japanese title is A Reality More Terrifying Than the Future, Trunks' Suspicions. And the American title is More Androids.
Oh my God, I forgot to make a title for this one. Oh no. Okay, so that means I have to make one up. Oh, shit. Okay, here's my episode title. My personal enjoyment of this series has skyrocketed since the introduction of Trunks. Therefore, I'm very pleased that he returns in this episode. Shit. I'm glad that you just complimented me on my title so that I could go fuck it up like 20 minutes later.
Not everybody has a... Yeah, I was going to use a baseball metaphor, but I don't know what a good batting average is.
300 plus is typically pretty damn good.
Okay.
I know nothing about baseball, though.
No, neither do I. All right. So this episode does open with 20 rescanning everybody, and you get to see the titles for everybody's name.
Oh, my God.
Including my personal favorite is Picaro. It's 7/8 the name that I'm familiar with and a couple letters short. And it's it's perfect.
They are their names in Japanese, though. Like Tenshinhan and Kuririn, that's how you spell their names directly from Japanese.
That's fair. I shouldn't be like grafting on my English American expectations for the animation of this show.
It's also very much exactly the way that you put it, because they can't spell study. They spell it stady. Like, they have English. I guess English is a required language in Japan. You just learn it in elementary school. That's why you see signs in Japan. You see pictures of Tokyo, and they have Japanese kanji or whatever it's called. And then English letters, it'll say like wine or whatever. It's because they all speak and understand English lettering. What I don't understand, and I could just Google this, but I want to slather my ignorance all over the internet because
absolutely,
that's what we're here for.
Why else would you have a podcast?
Exactly. I don't understand why some folks' names are in English and then other people have their names in Japanese. So
yeah, like the characters. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. In the credits, you'll see that there are, if you watch the Japanese version of certain things, there will be some people whose names are spelled out in English and other people whose names they are spelled out in the characters. I don't get that. I don't understand why.
I mean, there's got to be a reason or distinction, but I don't know what it is. Yeah.
Email us, mail at ehdbz.com.
Gohan finds gophers. He's looking for Android 20. He hears a noise behind him. He's like, oh shit, what was that? And he turns around, there's some gophers on the rocks, and he's just like, oh, it's just you guys.
That's right. Oh, it's just you guys. Like, he knows them. He's on a first name basis with these gophers. That's Tinkerbell and Starbuck.
Yeah, and they run away. God, those are good gopher names. everybody just kind of walks around the cannon for a bit. And then 20, he's scanning everybody. He finally decides, okay, I'm going to go for Piccolo. He's the second strongest and he just leaps for him. And I didn't expect this, but he just latches onto the back of Piccolo. He gets him.
Yeah.
And apparently starts draining energy, even though there's no visual indication.
Like a Crane game claw machine. Just latches around him and has one hand around his mouth so Piccolo can't scream. Yeah,
he can't scream. He's having his energy drained. Nobody can see him up there. What's he going to do? How's he going to get out of this one? You guessed it. He's going to use telepathy to talk to Gohan.
Yeah, the magic plot telepathy. Like, that's really what it is, isn't it? It only
comes up when you can't think of another solution. It's ridiculous.
It's at this point, it's almost quaint.
Yeah.
It's almost quaint watching Toriyama write himself into a hole and then write himself out with magic MacGuffin powers.
Oh, of course. Telepathy.
For not MacGuffin powers, but Deus Ex Machina powers.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Stockholm Syndrome because we have to watch the show and we don't have to enjoy it. But at this point, I've had it happen so many times. I kind of enjoy it now. I'm okay
with it. You know what? It's happened before. We know it's a thing in the universe. Maybe there's some weird requirements that we don't know about that only allow it to be used in certain situations, but
yes,
he just does it. Whatever, he does it, and Gohan's like, "Oh no, I'm coming." It's not like he just like looks around and sees him and like
it's
whatever.
Like, the straightest path from point A to B is a straight line. And so I think that's how he writes himself out of plot holes. He's, why don't I just have Piccolo talk to Gohan then? Like, he figures out whether it makes sense or not. He's like, that's what he keeps in his head.
You've got to make 20 look clever. So he covers Piccolo's mouth, but then all of a sudden you have to shoehorn in a way for him to talk to Gohan anyway.
Yeah, it's like,
why not just cut out the middleman and have him not cover his mouth, or cover his mouth and Piccolo, like with the last of his strength, managed to move 20's hand so that he can yell for Gohan.
Know.
Like, I don't get it, but whatever.
It's such an interesting thing. Like,
it's like that he decided that was going to be the solution.
And he does it consistently. Like, I think up until this point, kind of like our discussions with energy, we haven't had enough data to really look at and compile it all to make determinations based off of, okay, how does Toriyama choose to write his story?
Yeah.
But now we have enough data and we can make assumptions that are typically right based off of that data. And I love watching this show from a story writing perspective, but also loving the show enough to not just shit all over it and really ask
what? Yeah.
How? How did they decide that was the best? Oh my God. I love it. I love this show for its flaws, I guess, is where I'm getting at.
That's where you can tell it's true love, right?
I guess
you love it because of its flaws.
That's true. Yeah. So, okay. Getting back to it, he uses plot telepathy to call Gohan.
He does.
And then Gohan appears and cracks on 20, which knocks off his hat.
Oh, the hat bounces and you can see that it's made of metal, which I thought was pretty cool. Because last time we saw it was just a regular hat, if I remember right.
If I'm going to make a hat, it's going to be out of metal. God damn it. So that happens, knocks down the hat. Piccolo gets a senzu bean because he's all kind of puckered up from getting drained. He drained his power. So he gets a senzu bean and Piccolo's pissed off. He does not like that he had the jump
placed on him. This also signals like a jump was placed on him. It also signals to everybody around that this is where they are. So everybody knows where 20 is now and they all look toward his location. Piccolo does get pissed and he removes his armored clothes. So, he means business.
And he does it super fast. It's like 3 frames. Usually when they take off the weighted clothes, it's kind of an extended little sequence where you got to make a point to take off. No, he just discards it this time. We get it. He's got weighted clothes. I think he even pops his knuckles, like just for added effect.
Sure. He's getting ready to fight. He's getting ready to fight for real. He makes clear to Vegeta that he wants to fight 20 on his own because he's going to make up for this embarrassment on behalf of his family. And
for my honor.
Yeah. The music is freaking nuts, dude. It goes from like epic to silly and back and forth like 4 times.
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't understand the kind of drugs that they were on to make that work.
Yeah. It's very weird.
Everything has a bridge. From a music writing perspective, you use a bridge to go from a section that maybe doesn't just fit right into the next section. So you make a bridge. This is like a series of bridges That's all the OST
It's just
is.
constantly moving from one thing to the next. Like
it's insane. Have you ever been on a highway in Texas or like a large metropolitan area where there's a spaghetti bowl that has 6 on-ramps that all go to the same place? That's what the music writing is for Dragon Ball Z.
20 and Piccolo start fighting, and Piccolo does that cool thing where he vanishes, and 20 is unsure where his opponent has gone to. He looks towards Vegeta. Vegeta gives this like really cool little indication, like he just pushes his head up and indicates that he should look up. 20 looks up and sees Piccolo just dive bombing him.
That's a beautiful moment. Seeing the heroes be the predators, like not even the predators, just like bullies with how excellently overpowered they are compared to this guy. It's real good, but
I'm so happy that they did this.
But we get a nice little shoe introduction for future Trunks, who is back. We see the shoes. That's
that's right. He's looking at the what's the island, the Southwest
South City,
whatever,
20 miles off of South City. It's got its own name, but I don't.
It shows the destruction that has hit the city since the androids were there, and it's kind of cool.
He's thinking, oh, it's too late. I can't believe I was too late. I should have come a couple days earlier, which you have time travel powers. Of course, you should have come a couple days earlier, Trunks.
Yeah. Well, I do love that they sort of cover it up by saying like, okay, Time Machine doesn't have quite enough energy to make it back. If I tried to stop this, then I wouldn't have enough energy to make it home.
It's still such a bad cover up because if
it's
we're talking
really
about
bad
time, there's no such thing as not enough energy because you have enough to go back once.
You can go to the future and then get more fuel and then go back. Yes, I know.
I know you know, but Toriyama doesn't. I actually don't even know if he's the one that wrote that line. Surely somebody at Funimation was like, wait a minute. Anyway, every time Trunks shows up, he's always got bad news. You ever notice that?
Well, of course, yeah. Why would he leave his utopian family life back home when he has good news?
Yeah.
But no, that was his plan, is to sort of go back and like
help out,
make sure everybody was okay and sort of celebrate. And he gets back and he finds out that the city's been destroyed. The androids have arrived. Oh shit. But he detects the energy of the Z fighters. He's like, oh, cool. They're still alive. They're still fighting. There's still time. And he takes off toward that location. Meanwhile, Yamcha delivers Goku at home. The antidote has been taken, but Goku's not better yet. He's
suffering. He's
going to be suffering for a bit in bed. And it's almost like grotesque. I guess we'll get to it because it does cut back later, but they don't pull any punches with this recovery.
Yes, I guess this is what I mean by this is real Dragon Ball Z. They're past. We just saw a flashback to scenes from Dragon Ball, and the violence in Dragon Ball was.
It's funny.
You're right.
It's got a comedic spin to it.
Exactly. Yeah. Every time somebody's about to die or get hit, they have giant eyes and the big mouth and they're shooting Gatling guns at Goku and he's like, whoa, just dodging him. Whoa. Dragon Ball Z isn't like that. Dragon Ball Z, Goku is suffering and people around him are crying and afraid. It's a complete heel turn.
Bulma and Yajirobe are still in the flying car with baby Trunks going to the battle, and Trunks passes them. They actually spot Trunks.
Future Trunks,
yes. Bulma's like, oh, hey, it's that kid again. And so they continue on their way. Trunks arrives on the original battlefield, not where they're fighting 20, but where they fought 19. He lands and sees something that we don't really know. We can assume, but we don't see it yet. And he's like, oh, no, how is this possible? It cuts back to the fight between Android 20 and the gang. Piccolo has this like mini monologue where he talks to 20 and he's like, I've been where you've been and your desire to kill is actually killing you.
That's right. I used to be like you.
And then he chops 20's arm off.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
You know what's kind of interesting? He gives him like a we're not so different, you and I kind of speech, but he doesn't give him the opportunity to change his ways and become a better person. He just decides I'm going to kill him.
Off. Yeah. Well, he puts his self-preservation above the chance for mercy, which I honestly can respect.
Yeah. No one else does that but Goku. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So by the way, another side note, this episode is so well paced between the fighting and the cuts to the other characters that are actually doing things.
Well, yeah, and there's like story and revelations and there's things that happen. Yeah, it all matters.
Yes.
That's not always the case.
Suck it, Snake Way.
Yeah, exactly. Trunks does not just randomly grab a burger or eat a cloud.
Oh my God. No. Instead, Trunks finds the severed head of Android 19.
Yes.
It's like, what is this? I've never seen this before.
Yeah, this isn't one of the androids.
It's your first sense of, oh, maybe our heroes are a little more fucked than they think.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
Android 20 says like, oh, you guys are super strong. What the hell's going on? He's not only failed to account for the training on Namek, but he's also failed to account for the 3 years of warning and preparation that they had before the androids arrived. I think it's Piccolo who says like, oh, don't worry, we've had all our ducks in a row. And Android 20 says, ducks? That makes no sense.
Perfect comedy line.
Fantastic.
That's where comedy. Oh my God, we're in Real Dragon Ball Z, and I know I keep saying that. That's the 6th or 7th time I've said it. But
sure.
the comedy that's also serious. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very
so
appreciated. Yeah. Right before that, there's a line, and then Krillin says, "Thank goodness for that. Dying is a bummer." And then Gohan goes, "I'll bet," which is perfect. But I don't remember the
I don't
line
remember
that precedes
the lead up to that either. No, I think Tien also says, "I've been there." Like they're all all the people that have died are like, "Yep,
dying sucks."
Uh-huh.
Before Piccolo can deal that final blow, that's when they sense another power level.
Piccolo turns and says, "Oh, Trunks is back," completely forgetting that he needs to not tell everybody the information about Trunks or it could fuck up the timeline. Which
Vegeta hears it, and he goes, "Trunks? How bizarre! He has the same name as my son."
He has a little mental breakdown for a minute where the camera slowly zooms in on him, and it's so funny. It's perfect comedy camera work.
It's fantastic. And then he figures it out.
It's Vegeta figuring out that, oh my God, he's also a Super Saiyan. This is my fucking son. Oh, shit.
So Vegeta's confused about that. Trunks arrives on the scene. 20 scans him and says, "I have no data for this person." And so he's confused. Trunks is confused because that's not the androids that they've faced. And the episode just ends with everybody confused about what's going on.
Everybody. Good guys, bad guys, everyone no one knows what's happening anymore.
Episode 132. The Japanese title is Give Chase, the search for Dr. Giro's mysterious laboratory. The American title is Follow Dr. Giro.
I didn't write a title for this episode. I didn't write a title for the last episode, though. The B team hitches a ride on the Gohan Express.
Oh, God. They do. This episode begins with Bulma and Yajirobe flying toward the battle arena as they have been for the past few episodes.
Yep.
The only reason I really want to mention this is that, two reasons. One is that Bulma doesn't know that Goku's down for the count. She's like, oh, Goku's going to be so happy to see us, or Goku's going to save the day, or something like that. Us, the audience, knowing that, of course, Goku's been taking off the playing field. I respect that continuity. The line honestly confused me because I was like, wait a second. But I really like that they're keeping track of which characters know how much information. And then Yajirobe says, "No, we're not going to that frickin' battlefield. Turn around right now or I'll kill your son."
What? He said that?
No.
Oh,
he says, I'll throw the baby out the window or something like that.
Oh, Yajirobe.
Yeah,
shit.
and Bulma's like, "No, you won't, because if you do, then Vegeta is going to be after you. And you won't like that." And then Yajirobe's like, "Okay, just keep going."
He's not wrong. They shouldn't be there.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But also he's kind of a piece of shit about it.
Exactly. He's not going about it the right way, but probably should have stayed home today. Krillin looks on the bright side of fighting different androids because at this point, everyone's aware, like Trunks basically shouts, "Those aren't the right androids."
Yeah, and Krillin's got that silver lining to him.
Yeah, like maybe they changed history enough that these are the ones that are here now because they did attack the same place, just like Trunks said they would, on the same day at the same time. Maybe just killing them now is going to be fine, and they're just going to be able to solve the problem. Everybody else isn't so sure, and Android 20 comes up with a plan. He needs to get back to his lab and activate androids 17 and 18, but he can't get away because all eyes are basically on him. So how's he going to do that? Until Bulma provides the perfect distraction that Dr. Giro needs by showing up to the battlefield finally, flies by with her car, and she's like, "Hey, everybody, how's it going? I'm not interrupting anything, am I?" Looks out the window and sees Android 20, and she says, "Dr. Giro," which I actually really like.
Yeah.
As a revelation. It was very well done.
Super good.
Honestly, like it was sort of revealed in the last episode title, even though it didn't really tell us anything in the episode itself.
It doesn't straight up tell you that Android 20 is this Dr. Giro. It just says whatever, Dr. Giro's conspiracy. I don't remember what the title was.
Well, like it's done a good job of foreshadowing. because it doesn't show Dr. Giro's face. When Dr. Giro's hat gets kicked off, you see a human brain.
Yep.
When Android 19's hat gets kicked off, you just see machinery. Bulma sees Android 20 and says Dr. Giro. So like you can connect the dots on your own, and like typically Dragon Ball Z just force feeds you the plot. So I really appreciated.
You hear that, J.J. Abrams?
Are you mad at JJ? What did he do? What are you mad at him for this time?
Well, actually, not even J.J. Abrams. I'm more talking Alex Kurtzman. Alex Kurtzman needs to watch Dragon Ball Z and shut the fuck.
Well, he certainly is not watching Star Trek, so I know he has time.
But seriously, though, you're not doing anything else. So you and Ryan Johnson get together. Come on over. We'll watch some DBZ.
I don't like those two as creators for the like 90% of their work, but I would be in on that. That'd be a fun party.
I really liked The Last Jedi as compared to the other two movies.
It's because you're a freak.
It's because what the fuck else are they supposed to do with Star Wars? Like, he fucked up by going too far, but he tried at least.
He tried to do something different. I'll give him credit for that. But oh my God, it was
embarrassing.
Incoherent.
It was embarrassing some of the times, but he definitely tried. He's a Krillin. That's all. That'll help you identify with him. He's a regular human being put in a position of doing inhuman feats, of pumping up this ridiculous franchise that has become more than just a movie now.
Wow.
So he's Krillin.
That's maybe the nicest thing I've ever heard anybody say about Rain Johnson.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, Trunks flies in and saves his mom and his younger self, because Android 20 creates a massive blast, because that's
Dr. Giro sees his opportunity with the flying car and just blasts the car. Car explodes. Trunks does save like baby himself and Bulma,
which is just such a weird thing.
It's so weird, dude.
It's so odd. He's holding his younger self. Although if we're following Dragon Ball Z's rules of what a timeline is, it's a separate timeline. It's an alternate universe.
him. Like it's Trunks, but because Trunks has gone back in time and changed things, that Trunks is going to grow up to be an entirely different person that just looks the same.
Right. Yeah. It's still weird. It's still fucking strange.
Weird. Yeah, it's still very weird. So I really like this because Yajirobe doesn't get saved. He's just in a pile of rocks. And
oh my God, yeah. And
like somehow
to him too, and then like embedded in rocks. And he's like, help me. Nobody does. Nobody cares.
Nobody does. He's he's the ultimate cartoon. And then, but what I really do like about the scene is Trunks turns on Vegeta and says, hey, Super Saiyan, whatever, you why didn't you save your family? Like, why didn't you save your son and your the mother of your son? It's crazy to me because knowing Trunks's history and also knowing that Vegeta now knows Trunks's history, sort of, Trunks has never talked to his dad before.
Never met him?
Like, he's never met him. The only thing that he knows about his dad is the stuff that future Bulma has told him, who has had, 20 plus years of rose-colored glasses about it all. He's getting a reality check of who his dad really is.
We get a flashback a little bit later in this episode. We'll get to it. But that moment where he confronts his dad and Vegeta shows his true colors, it hits home. Because so far, all we know about Trunks is that he's a good guy. That's it.
Yep. Yeah. And he's like, I don't know, he's a good guy in almost a way that feels more earned than the way that Goku's a good guy. You don't fully understand what I mean by that sentence until you get a bigger picture of what Trunks has been through. But like, he's been through some stuff and he's always serious and he's always trying to help and save and like just get things back to normal, which you can't really say for a lot of the other characters.
Does he really need more tragedy?
Yeah, seriously.
I guess this is the beginning of, if you've never seen this series before, other than just knowing he's from a tragic, dark future, this adds on to the tragedy of what Trunks is as a character. That all the stories he knows are mostly not fabrications, but
just like, looked on. They're just, they got a slightly different perception than reality.
Right.
As you know, everybody's memories do.
It just feels bad.
Yeah. So Vegeta's like, well, screw it. I don't care about, the baby or Bulma or whatever. I gotta go fight 20.
I gotta punch a guy in the face. Who gives a shit about my kid?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what he says.
I can't remember if he flies off or he sticks around for this next part, but Bulma and Baby Trunks is trying to comfort Baby Trunks after the traumatic crash. She's also at the same time talking to Trunks and the rest about how Android 20 looks exactly like Dr. Giro.
That's right.
And she does this amazing Bulma thing where she's explaining the plot, but she's also comforting her baby. So she's like, it was Dr. Giro. Yes, it was. It was him. He's trying to calm her son down. And like, it's just, I loved it so much.
She explains that she's seen Dr. Giro in a cutout of a magazine.
Like a science magazine, something her dad had. Yeah.
Yeah. He looks different. Like he didn't have all the wires and shit, but it's, that's him. That's with the funny mustache.
Every once in a while during this stuff, it cuts to Android 20. He's made his escape since blowing up Bulma's ship.
We get more internal monologue from Android 20 than we do from anyone else.
Yeah, it's weird though, because every time it jumps to him, it shows this like shaky shot that almost makes me sick.
Yes.
Like it's just him running, but it's like shaking the frame really bad. And like it zooms in close on his face. So like it just gets more and more jarring and you can't focus on any part of him.
Maybe you can help me out with this. You know more about filmmaking than I do. Anything that I've learned about it is basically osmosis from Red Letter Media and then working on productions ourselves. That's it. When I was editing together that thing that we did, I noticed that even in stillness, the frame shakes in the original show. It will jut up and down ever so slightly, even when it's not moving. And it's especially bad during mouth flap animations. Like the background will shift like up and down, and it's supposed to be still, but it shakes, and you can tell there's hairs on the film and dust. So this was shot or transferred to actual film reels. Is that just a function of as it passes through the machine, it's not a completely perfect still line that it's going through, and the machine just kind of vibrates?
They have to draw every frame, and sometimes they'll copy a bunch of stuff. At least I think this is how hand-drawn animation works. But then they'll actually film, the still image and then run it through the film. So you get backgrounds that are just slightly off of what they were before.
Yeah, so that can't help. Like these scenes with Dr. Gero are supposed to be fast. He's moving fast. But then you add in that,
but you get a little bit, and the regular jitter to you come to expect, and it's just
makes you feel a little more sick than normal.
It cuts back to Bulma, and she's like, "Yeah, I guess Android 20, Dr. Gero must have made a cyborg of himself or replaced parts of himself to make himself that." It's really amazing what he's done. Like she's legitimately impressed. Aside from the fact that he's a villain, she's impressed by the science of it all, which is just Bulma. Awesome. That's just Bulma. I love it. And I like angry dad Vegeta.
Yeah.
Because when he just yells at Trunks, he's like, "Curse you, boy." It is revealed that basically his timeline has changed more than he expected. He came back, tried to fix things, and he's just shifted things more than he expected. So Dr. Gero was never supposed to survive. 17 and 18 were the androids that were supposed to break out and kill Dr. Gero and terrorize that island. Obviously, that hasn't happened because 17 and 18 haven't been activated yet. And Trunks, just so they don't make the same mistake again, describes what 17 and 18 look like. You get the brief glimpses of what these characters are going to be with pink, glowy eyes. And these ones don't absorb energy. They just have an unlimited supply of energy.
That's right. Their energy, it lasts forever.
Yeah, they've got a Tesla battery.
And Vegeta just loses his mind on that one.
There's so many, like this whole second half of the episode it's plot based, but there's so many character moments sprinkled throughout these scenes. It's crazy how well juggled it is. But like, while Vegeta's yelling and stuff, the baby Trunks is there, obviously, along with adult Trunks. Bulma's like, "Stop making Trunks cry. Every time you look at him with your ugly mug, he just hates it." And when it cuts from Bulma and Trunks to Vegeta hearing this information, everybody else is behind him looking normal except Krillin. He has this amazing smug look on his face. Like, "Oh, you just got told." It's amazing.
Yes,
it's so good.
Vegeta yelling at Bulma, yelling at Vegeta, yelling at...
it's great.
Their dynamic is great. All the background characters have a good place. It's great. It's great. This is when you're like, "Hey, John, we should make a podcast about Dragon Ball," or when we were drunk and we're talking about Dragon Ball Z. I think that's what it was. We were just drunk talking about Dragon Ball Z. This is what I envisioned.
Yeah. These past few episodes have been like paradise.
Oh, seriously, no kidding.
Vegeta comes up with a stupid plan to fight the androids. He's basically like, "No, we're not going to stop 17 and 18 from being released. Because if you kill them before they're activated, obviously they won't pose a threat. We're going to let them get released and I'm going to go fight them and prove that I'm the strongest Saiyan in the universe." And I love that Vegeta's fault in logic is not a case of the show being wrong. It's an actual aspect of his character that the show acknowledges is wrong by having Trunks step up in front of his father and say, "No, you're an idiot. We need to stop the androids. You can't just release them to prove you're a stronger fighter because you won't win. And you're going to die.
This has already happened. You've already died."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Vegeta's just like, "No, screw you. I'm more powerful than you could possibly imagine. Nothing can stop me."
so high and mighty, and he flies off to go after Zero.
He just goes.
And it leaves Trunks open mouthed. And then the rest of the gang is like, he's such an asshole.
He does like get upset by the conversation, and to the group, he says, I won't let my father die, which is saying a little bit too much. Bulma hears this, internalizes it, and starts to like process that information. Gohan volunteers to bring Bulma and baby Trunks home while the others take off to find Jiro's lab because they are at least a little bit smart. And Yajirobe's still there, obviously, for some reason. So they have to all fly together, which is just fucking stupid and hilarious.
Yep.
Jiro, while he's running another one of these cuts, figures out that Bulma knows who he is. And in the flashback of like, oh, who was that girl that looked at me? In his flashback, you see a still frame of Bulma looking at him from her spaceship, but the spaceship, Bulma's fine. She looks normal. The spaceship that she was in, or the flying car, is made out of crayon for some reason. I don't understand it.
I think it's supposed to represent memory.
Sure. Like I can see that, but like
also he's a robot though.
Shouldn't it just be like an iPhone camera?
Right. Like perfect image. Like if it was another character, if it was Gohan's memory, if it was Yajirobe's memory, it makes sense. But,
anyway, whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely silly because it's definitely drawn in by a 6-year-old. It's pretty hilarious.
Fantastic. But he says like, oh man, Dr. Brief must have told him. And Jiro keeps referring to Dr. Briefs as Dr. Brief, which may well be his actual canon name, but it sounds super weird. So I'm going to continue to call him Dr. Briefs.
Yeah, same. Also, so earlier in this episode, Bulma reveals 20 is Jiro. I know because I saw his face in a magazine. Yeah. And then Dr. Jiro is sitting there trying to figure out how could they possibly know the direction of my lab because he sees Vegeta and Trunks fly by.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And he's like, how could they know the direction of my lab? Nah, that must be a coincidence. Yeah, definitely a coincidence. Only a few scientists in the world possess that information. Bulma just said that she recognized his face from an article in a magazine. Yeah. So is this a really exclusive ass magazine?
It must be for scientists only. The magazine is called Scientists Only.
It's called Scientists Only. Oh my God, that's a great magazine.
It's a good magazine, right?
Oh, I would like to see other occupational specific magazines. Plumbers Only.
Farmers Only is a dating site. So we got that.
Wait, really?
On the list. Yeah, Farmers Only. You don't have to be lonely at farmersonly.com. It's a
what? Is that real?
Yeah, that's their slogan. But you can only join if you have a farm, I think. I don't know what restriction they put on it.
What constitutes a farm?
But
could I have like a sandbox and grow aloe vera in it? Like, yeah, I'm a farmer now.
So let me into your dating site. I have no idea.
Pick up some Midwestern lady. I don't know.
So anyway, 20 figures it out. Bulma figures it out. They're finally all on the same page. The goal is to go to the laboratory. The question is who's going to get there first, Vegeta or Trunks and the gang. They're either going to destroy 17 and 18 or 17 and 18 are going to activate and kill them all.
It's Vegeta in front and Trunks is following behind him. And they
kind of race, which is really cool.
Yeah, they don't race yet. So Trunks has his flashback back to his childhood, future Trunks' childhood, where Trunks is like 7 or 8 years old. And he's got the jacket and everything. It's him just scaled down. It's kind of adorable. And he's talking to his mom in the ruined future. And so Bulma is screwing in some things on a machine. Trunks is asking, what was my dad like? And Bulma says, well, he was a distant guy. He was very hard to read. That man never once told me he cared about me, but he was very strong and unique. And so Trunks doesn't have a good idea of what Vegeta is actually like. It's just those stories. And then it fades from the flashback into Vegeta in front of him. And it's this really stark contrast. It just you feel bad, especially when Vegeta turns around and he's like, you want to try and race, bitch? And she flies as fast as he can, which makes Trunks go Super Saiyan. And the Vegeta in his head thinks, it's still hard for me to believe he could be a Super Saiyan at his age. But then again, he is my son.
Yeah, it's so weird. The concept of like what Vegeta views as good parenting. Yeah. Because obviously he grew up with a very skewed sense, well, at least compared to humans, what makes a good family. And Trunks obviously has a more human view of what it is. Also, Vegeta knows that Trunks is his son, and Trunks knows that he's Vegeta's son, but Trunks doesn't know that Vegeta knows. So like they haven't communicated the fact to each other
that they're aware of their,
but they're both aware. Yeah. Separately.
Yeah.
I love it. Like I love, I'm a fan of time travel, but like using it in such an emotional way to build up a character like this, and then using that information to kind of turn that on its head. Like your perception of Vegeta has been the same throughout, but then you get a different view from Trunks' point of view and how that contrasts with what you know. It's just really good, fun, interesting character development in a unique way. That's just, it's good. It's just good.
So well played. I think if they ever were to make a live action Dragon Ball Z movie that is not Dragon Ball Evolution, because that doesn't count. That's not real. It doesn't exist. It's a fever dream. It's not real.
You could do it. You could make Trunks pull a Terminator, make Trunks the main character. The future is gone. We could save everybody. These are the villains here. These heroes, you have to go and get these heroes ready, go back in time. You could do it. You don't have to start from the very beginning of Goku's journey.
I believe
you could start here.
The way to do it right, besides using practical effects and creating models,
make him use real energy.
That's right. In your casting process, the first question is, can you fire a Kamehameha? And if not, but like they're not in.
I think Marvel has proven, like, say what you want about the movies, but the practical effects that they use for their character costumes and stuff to make these out of this
that's
world.
What I'm talking about.
Yes. Yeah, it's really good.
Yes. But the reason I brought all this up is because we're talking about using an emotional connection to push a scientific concept. Do that. When you write the script, make sure that the emotional connection of these characters exists. Then that's the primary focus. Like, okay, yeah, have dudes punching each other because that's what some people are going to pay to watch. But the real heart of Dragon Ball Z exists. And I think a lot of people forget that among all the screaming and the flashing schizophrenic lights, they forget the show has depth.
There are multiple occasions where the characters feel like real people with real problems, and it's not all about just punching the bad guy. Like that's honestly the best part. Like, it is. That stuff makes the punching better.
Worth
like
it. Yes.
Yeah.
It makes it not just punching.
It's earned.
Which, to bring us all back home, is why I really think you should watch One Punch Man, because that show does that perfectly. It encapsulates or it captures the essence of Dragon Ball Z while parodying it perfectly. And I think that's the end of this episode.
Yep, that's it. That's all we got for you this time. John, if you would.
Oh, sweet. I get to do it. Find out next time on Arcade's Dragon Ball Z.
I guess we should probably pose a question.
Yeah, that's true. You want to set me up?
So what's going to happen with Dr. Gero? Our hero's going to get to the laboratory first. Is Vegeta going to activate 17 and 18 and fight a battle that he can't win? Is Goku going to survive?
Find out next time on Arcade's Dragon Ball Z.
Thank you all for watching Arcade's Dragon Ball Z. He may hate the show, but he loves that you're listening. If you want to send us some feedback, please do. We'd love to hear from you. And we're always getting, we're always really excited to get fodder for our fan mail episodes. You can send us an email at mail, M-A-I-L, at ehdbz.com. You can also reach out to us, the fan mail?
The fan mail episodes, yeah. I mean, I love doing the show.
They're so good. But it's really good. We got a couple more last week. I think if we get a couple more, we can justify doing another one. Like at the end of the Android Saga, which is coming up in a couple episodes. So,
hell yes. I would love... That's why we're doing this. We're not doing this for us. This is painful
we're doing
sometimes.
it for you.
We're doing it because we get to hang out with you. And we can build a parasocial relationship. Maybe
I was just gonna say that.
Maybe one day we'll have a panel at Comic-Con. We can get to know you as well as you've gotten to endure us.
Oh, that's sweet. Oh, you can also reach us on Twitter using the handle at AirCatesDBZ.
For more entertainment from our team, be sure to check out the Tales of Nowhere podcast, talesofnowhere.com. It's a tabletop RPG where we take one cast of characters from multiple games and rule sets, tell one epic story. Spencer is our amazingly awesome DM, and he's doing a really fantastic job. The other players are all really likable, and you can form other parasocial relationships with them. That's their fetish. So go ahead and get that fulfilled.
All the music was done, both for Tales of Nowhere and Arcade's Dragon Ball Z, by our amazingly... Wait, you said amazingly for me. Our...
Use bees.
Bastardly talented...
Yeah, I'll take it.
Beautifully talented composer John Good. You can find more of his music on SoundCloud under the name Burn7. He also has a new amazing portfolio.
Ooh.
Just released recently that you can check out and see if he'd maybe be a good fit for one of your projects.
Yeah, check it out if you want. If not, it's cool. I know we're all busy, so
we're all busy.
Maybe one day you'll hear this part at the end. You'll be like, you know what? Maybe I will check it out. But if you don't feel like
I'll give that John Good a chance.
Yeah, don't worry. I understand. It's like, in the beginning of every YouTube video, smash that like button. I get paid based off of how much you like my video. No one likes that. So the hardest part about doing any of this stuff is marketing, because I don't want to be that guy. It even feels weird to be here while you're saying the amazingly whatever you say, and then the plug. It's hard. It's hard for me. So if you're into it, cool. If not, cool.
I like that. Why don't they replace that with, instead of smash that like button? If
I
you're
don't
into it,
know.
Cool. If not, cool.
I know that there are content creators that do that, but
it's much more casual. Anything else you want to say?
No, I like you. You're cool. You, Spencer, and
Thanks,
also
man.
the people listening.
I feel the same way about both you and the people listening.
Yeah, I'm just trying to stall because I don't want to do a pun.
Yeah, I know. That's where I am too.
I hate this part, man.
Yeah, especially because there's no new characters.
And seriously, every time we do this, my brain doesn't know what a pun is until you give me a bad one, and then it goes, oh yeah, that. And then that's where I'll come up with one. We
love that you all listen to the podcast. We think you're really cool.
That one physically hurt me to listen to.
I was trying to jumpstart your engine, man.
Okay. No, I appreciate that, but I don't know how you could sing so piccolo.